I love the paper in the Lechtturm, and I like working with a bound notebook. The problem is I wanted to use my Cheek Sparrow traveler's note style notebook, and I wanted to put the notebook in the rings. Now you can slide a notebook, the whole notebook into here, but it adds a lot of extra weight. And I don't need to be carrying around that much extra weight, particularly since I want to keep another notebook for other purposes. So what I've discovered is that I can take this with the help of this little tool and split it into something like this that fits very handily inside the traveler's notebook. So let me show you how I do it. I got to get this open first. I take away the label. There are some stickers on the inside, some stickers in the back, and I just set all that aside. Then I do what I do for any book, and I'm just going to ease the binding in. I'm not sure what the official term is called for doing this, but since I was a young girl, I was told that with every new book you should do this. And I've gotten the habit of doing this with my journals, and it helps them to lay flat and to behave a whole lot better. So now what I'm going to do, because I'm going to be turning this into this, where there's no pages on the inside at all, and you can see the main thing is to cut away this outer binding. And the easiest way to do that is with a sharp razor blade, and to keep the razor blade as parallel as you can, slight downward angle, and then I just cut it right down there with gentle pressure. I don't always cut all the way through the first time, but I'd rather do that than overcut it. And now it's separated. I'm going to do the same thing for the back. I like to do it this direction because I'm right-handed. Slight downward pressure, 45-ish degree angle, and split it apart. And the paperwork comes away from this. Now I keep this binder because when I am done with a notebook, I can put it inside and store it on the shelf. And it works just fine. This has only got half of it in there. The other half will go in. I've got it set up for the new year, so it's in my notebook now. But the second one will go right here, and it's away it goes. So the secret I found to splitting this is to find the natural middle. Get the ribbons out of my way. And you can kind of see how they naturally split. They're sort of in sections. And for this notebook, it's at page 122. That page is slightly glued together. So I simply tug on it a little bit to separate it. And then as it starts to separate, I can actually see the glue. And I just run that razor blade. Now, how careful you do it will depend on how many of the pages you get to keep. I can usually get it out and keep all of them. There we go. That was the kind of split I was looking for. And then I'm just going to cut right down that little section. Again, do it gently. You can always come back and recut. It's harder to glue it back together. Your ribbons, I find, either goes with one or the other notebook. Looks like in this case, well, this one's somewhat attached. I can reattach it. And I can do this. This one seems to be pretty well attached. Okay, so what I need to do now is to make a cover for each of those. And my favorite is this Tim Holtz memorandum. I just love the look of these. And then very low tech, all I do is kind of figure out the lower left corner is what's going to be your front. So you just kind of have to decide what you want. I like that for the front. I'm trying not to get my head in the shot. Put that up to the edge. Straight as you can. Simply cut it off on pencil line. Where'd the pencil line go? Oh, these old markings on here. I can't tell where the pencil line is. There it is. It's that one. And I can tell by moving this that it's going to be close. Not quite. So what I do is I concentrate on getting one side as tight as I can, and then I'll simply trim the other one after it's all installed. So I'll line it up where it needs to go. And the glue that I found that works the best is this PVA neutral pH adhesive. It's bookbinding glue, and I found it at a local art store. And you don't need a lot. You kind of mush it around as I'm going. A small bead on that. And what I forgot to do was to fold this. It does help if you fold this first, but I can get in there pretty tight with my fingers. And if you find you have excess glue in that one area, I've got some excess. I'm just going to use a tissue to wipe it away so I don't end up with too much on it. And there, it's glued on. Now I want to let that dry before I mess with trimming it. When I'm done, I'll simply trim up this edge around the corners a little bit, and I'm good to go. I've got half the notebook done. So I'll repeat the process with another sheet. And again, to try to figure out what it's going to look like on the front, I just sort of preview it. You know, that doesn't make sense. That's not too bad. I guess this one makes the most sense. And all I'm doing is checking it for length. We'll cut that off. And then what I could do is put this back, draw a line there, and fold it. Doesn't matter which way you fold it, because you can fold it back the other way. But I find it's easier to fold it with the pencil line on the outside, so I can make sure. And then fold it back the way it's got to go. And then to check the spine depth, simply put that up like that. Draw a line down there and do the same thing on that second line. Turn it to the way it's going to end up being. Checking the edges, make sure they're somewhat straight. And this one, I'm going to put a little extra glue here for the ribbon. This would be a good time if you wanted to add a ribbon or two. You could. And again, just a little bit of glue down the spine. And kind of work it in a little bit. You just don't want to go too much. Fold that up. And then fold that down. And then what I'll do is I'll set these aside to dry, and they'll be ready for my notebook. How it ends up, it makes a nice notebook. You've got all the benefits of the pages being numbered. The cover, it holds up pretty well. You really can't use the last page too well, but that's okay because I don't like to use the left page anyways. And that split happened, at least on this Lechtturm, at between 122 and 123. So that's the trickiest thing that you have to look out for. What you've just watched is a lesson from one of the courses that are included in the rug hooking journey. You can sign up for the rug hooking journey at howtorughook.com. You can also visit my website, cindygayrughooking.com. And there is a link in the menu for online courses, and that'll get you back to howtorughook.com. The rug hooking journey is an ongoing, growing, changing, evolving membership where we talk about all things rug hooking. And one of the courses is how to do a rug hooking journaling system. And that course is just getting started and just beginning. But when you join as a member, you will be getting the lessons immediately as soon as they're ready. I will probably offer this as a standalone course later on for people who choose not to join the rug hooking journey, but they won't have access to it until the course is complete. So if you can't wait and you want to get started now, check out that and all the other courses all about rug hooking on howtorughook.com. Thanks, everybody.